Hi and welcome along to my Sunday lockdown Q&A, a special one today because it's a bank holiday Sunday, which if you live outside the UK, it's a holiday basically. We get 2 bank holidays in May and this is the second one. And normally, under normal circumstances, probably be at a bar somewhere having a drink or out with your family having something to eat, or it'd be a big day. And I think for a lot of people, Ramadan's finished today. I've got that right as well. So as well, they'd be out celebrating. There'd be a lot of people celebrating today under normal circumstances, out and about, having fun. But of course, all you're left with is me because it's a lockdown. So you can't go nowhere unless your name's Dominic Cummings over here in England. If you're based over here, you know what I mean. But you can't go anywhere. So you know how we do on a Sunday. We've been doing this now for past 7 weeks. On a Sunday, I've been coming at you guys all week. Lots of transfer rumours, lots of stuff around Arsenal, lots of stuff around the world of football. On a Sunday, I'll give you a chance to just ask me whatever you want, whether it's football, anything. You can ask me whatever, you know what I mean? And I'll try and answer it as much as I possibly can. As Herbert says, more rubbish. Come on, Herbert. You're on board because you're watching, right? So it can't be that bad, right? And Alex says, evening, Don Robbie. Listen, it's good to be here today. And, you know, with this whole coronavirus thing, it just keeps lingering on and on and on. And I just want to see things get back to normal, as you would. See football coming back, see just normality coming back, kids going back to school, you know. I'm just longing for those days right now. But anyway, anything you would like to ask, fire away, right? And by the way, don't forget, as I've been sort of talking about for the past, about 2 weeks, I've been saying that what we're going to try and do is do a show where we get some of you guys on board. And remember, I put it out there and said anybody who wants to come and be part of the show. We're doing our first one where we're going to have people part of that on Tuesday. Let me tell you, the response we've had has been unbelievable. Hundreds of people have been in contact saying they want to be part of the show. I can only really have about 3-4 people on at a time. So I'm going to get some on Tuesday. Also, tomorrow we've got Sophie Rose on. I know a lot of you guys have been asking for her as well, so she's on tomorrow. But today, you're stuck with me. So fire away. First of all, bigging up on Eduardo. He says, greetings from Peru, land of gunners, red and white. Big up Peru. Nice part of the world. Never been there. Would love to go there. You know what? That's one part of the world I've not really been to, South America. Somebody was saying to me the other day that Colombia is a really nice place to visit. And I know probably in your head you're thinking, Colombia, you know, lots of trouble and that. But they said to me, listen, it's not that bad. So I don't know if any people out there have been to Colombia can tell me, but I've got to do South America when this lockdown thing ends, if it ever ends. So come on, fire at me. What have we got? Ricky Holt says, Robbie, if Arsenal gets in the top 4 next season, DT and Troops dye their hair blonde for 1 season. Listen, don't hold out on that. That Troops, both of them bottled it, as a matter of fact. Both of them. Troops bottled it because when we was over in New Orleans, he dyed his hair red, but he used a dye which was easy to wash out, right? And DT bottled it because he was supposed to dye his beard. He didn't do that. It was bottle jobs. Bottle. So don't hold out on that, Ricky. Sorry, mate. Jacobson43 says, hello from Twitch. Big up everybody watching on Twitch at the moment. Enough respect to you guys. Got another one there. He says, yo. So everybody on Twitch at the moment, it's a platform that we're going to start building. So Anita Goodman says, do you watch anime? And if so, what's your favorite anime? I don't watch anime. My daughter watches anime. I'm always like, what is that? So you can figure I'm not the biggest fan, but yeah, the anime thing, my daughter, she's on that hard. Right, Georgian21 says, Robbie, have you seen the news on Coutinho? I have seen that news that Coutinho has been linked today with a move to Arsenal. I've kind of tried to dig deep into it. I can't really see where all of a sudden this has come, but they're saying that apparently Mikel Arteta would really like to sign Coutinho. I said right at the start of this whole thing that I wouldn't mind Coutinho at all at Arsenal, because I really do think we could do with a goal-scoring midfielder. But the amount of money it's going to cost, even if it's a loan, it'll be still very expensive. I'm not sure if it could get done. His agent, Kia Drapchen, is good friends of Raul Sanelli at Arsenal. So, you know, and we have taken players off him already. So it is possible, but who knows? I don't know. I just feel with the amount of, they're saying about the little amount of money we got, I don't know if we'd be able to get it done. So I really don't know. I really don't know. So Mohammed's saying YouTube chat disabled. Oh, I'm not seeing any people coming through from YouTube actually. We should be on YouTube. So I don't know. You're gonna have to jump onto a different platform if that's true. If YouTube chat is disabled, it shouldn't be. I'm not sure about what's happening with that. HairQ7 says Coutinho is better on the wing rather than a midfield. No, I'd like to see Coutinho sort of playing. He can play that false number 9 position. He could play number 10 position. He scores goals, man. I'd like to see him in that number 10 position. I think that's sort of where he more used to play when he was at Liverpool. Tell me if I'm wrong, Liverpool fans, but that's where I think I'd like to see him. I think he'd be able to do more of his damage there. Nikesh says, hi, Robbie. Have you seen new cases in the Championship and Premier League as well? Apparently one player at Bournemouth has tested positive, which is not great. But as I said, they carried out nearly 1,000 tests. So 1 in 1,000, that's, you know, it's not terrible, is it? But they're going to have to continue to monitor the position for sure. Siri 1972 says, if we get Partey and we sell Torreira, who would you replace with the money from Torreira? So if we get Partey and we sell Torreira, who would you replace with the money from Torreira? Well, I'd reckon that if Torreira went, that's where the money would go, presumably, to buy Partey, because you need to be replacing him. So that's where I'd assume the money would go. Welsh Lad says, yo, Robbie, how's it going, mate? I hope the African billionaire takes over. Do you think there's too many snowflakes in the Premier League, as it's not enough passion playing for the clubs? If I was playing for Arsenal, I'd be happy playing for £1,000 a week and still show more passion than the players on 100k plus. Well, we were talking this morning, the fact that, you know, I was watching that Michael Jordan documentary, and the mental strength and the winning mentality that he brought to that team. There's a lack of that sometimes at Arsenal. We're hoping that Mikel Arteta is going to bring that. And yes, I would like a new billionaire to take over at Arsenal. Whether I think it will happen or not too sure, to be honest. Viraj says, hi, Robbie. Why aren't fan channels like AFTV allowed to witness the press conference held by clubs on a weekly basis? What will it take for you lot to make that happen? Start respecting the fans. Well, I know that United Stand have been into a couple of press conferences. I've never been invited to an Arsenal press conference. Never. Pippa's got into women's press conferences, but the men's ones, they've never invited me along to it. Now, I don't know if that's because they have a lot of their sort of traditional journalists that turn up to that, or I don't know if they just don't want me in the room. Or they're scared of what I might ask, which is probably the latter. So I've never been invited to. I've been in the press area at Arsenal, but not for a full press conference. I've been invited to England press conferences, but not to an Arsenal one. And I don't know why, but me nah big for going to press conference either. You know, the only thing I find sometimes with these press conferences as well is that it's just the pretty standard stuff. You know, you're there. Well, even when I was at that England press conference, you know, first of all, before it even started, they told you certain questions you can't ask, and then after that, you know, I don't know. It's no big deal for me getting into those press conferences. Carl says, do you like watch rugby? I do sometimes. I do watch rugby, watch the Six Nations. I like a bit of rugby league. I used to play rugby a lot when I was a kid. I was pretty good at rugby actually. I used to play as a second row. So I do like rugby. I do like rugby. Mesut Ozil 7898 says, Robbie, what do you think of Dominic Cummings? It's getting a bit political here. I saw the press conference earlier where Boris Johnson's defending him. So basically, if you don't know, so Dominic Cummings, for people who don't know, he's a senior advisor to Boris Johnson, the Prime Minister. And he's got himself into a spot of problems because, you know, obviously the government have been saying quite strict rules on, you know, visiting places and self-isolating and stuff like that. And he looks like on more than one occasion has been caught out breaking the rules on that. And basically, Boris Johnson was trying to defend him, saying that, oh, well, he did what any father would have done in that circumstance. But hold on, there's rules around it. So if any other father would have done that, would they have got in trouble or would they have got off the hook? Whichever way, I think the government are trying to spin it here. It makes it look like there's one rule for one and not for the other. That's how I'm looking on it. So I think he's in the wrong. When are politicians, can't they just sometimes just say, do you know what, we've looked into it and he was wrong. You know, we're not going to ask him to resign, but he was definitely wrong. We've spoken to him and said to him, don't let this happen again in the future. Well, why do they never do that? Why is it always got to be defending and back and forth and, so boring. Guna Chris says, do you feel if we had Robin van Persie in the 15-16 season, we would have won the league? I don't think we would have won the league. We would have needed to have strengthened the team and built a team around Robin van Persie. We should have signed him to a new deal and then started to construct a team around him. But we didn't. You know what I mean? We sold him to Man United and the rest was history. Elijah says, if we get to the top four, do you think the Kroenke will invest? I think he will spend more money because there'll be more money available because we'll be playing Champions League football. So I think there'll be more money available, whether it's him investing or whether it's him using money that would have went to, you know, would have went to us anyway because of getting in the Champions League. I don't know, but certainly I think we'd spend more money if we could get into the Champions League. Grant McRoberts says, Robbie, will you sell AFTV to DT and Troops when you retire? Will you buy Rangers one day? Also, what's your favourite movie of all time? Sell AFTV to DT and Troops. There'd be nothing left. Favourite movie of all time? I got asked this the other day and I couldn't really pick one, man. I like my gangster movies, as I was saying last week. Goodfellas. I like my Carlito's Way was on the other night. Scarface. I like those gangster movies, man. I'll tell you what I've been watching, and I just finished watching it on Netflix, is Queen of the South. Oh, that's good. I really, really enjoyed that. I love Narcos. Big fan of Narcos on Netflix, and also that Ozark as well. I like anything with that sort of gangster feel in it. That's just me. I do love them sort of movies. So any sort of gangster movie is always right up there for me. Shannon 14 says, Robbie, if we had good owners, we would be expecting good signings rather than hoping. Well, yeah, you know, I mean, I think a club like Arsenal should be making big, at least one big signing. I think we should be making this summer. And a club like Arsenal, it's not always that you've got to all the time buy the biggest signings and the biggest names. Sometimes, you can buy players, or you can have players that are pretty unknown that can become superstar players. Robin van Persie, of course, was one of those. But it's not just about buying players. It's about keeping hold of your best players. And it's about having money to spend if those players become available. And we just seem to be behind that over the past couple of seasons. Well, not just the last couple, the last 10 seasons, I'd say. Dale says, breaking. Robbie, as a spokesman for Arsenal fans worldwide, you need to respond to Michel Vorm of Tottenham, making fun of Arsenal fans with Vertonghen and some other teammates. Clap back on our behalf. Thanks, it's made Google News. What have they been saying? How can they make fun of Arsenal? Michel Vorm, who, how many games has he played for Tottenham? I mean, I want to know, right, if you ever want to see a player that's only gone to a club for the money, it's Michel Vorm. He's not even second choice. I think that's at Gazaniga's second choice. He's like third choice. And he's still hanging on there for dear life just for the money. So you don't want to be making fun. Start making fun out of Arsenal when you're playing. And then you can make fun out of Arsenal. And that's for Vertonghen. He's on his way out anyway, isn't he? He's on a free transfer at the end of the season. And instead of making fun of Arsenal, maybe want to see if he can get a club. Because at the moment, I don't really see many clubs coming in for him. That's how great he is. That dude, Dale? Right. Isaiah says, hi, Robbie. Who's a better player, Neymar or Hazard? Neymar, isn't it, by miles? I mean, Hazard's a good player, but no, Neymar's another level. Robbie says, think DT will be ranting about Dominic Cummings on the next podcast, and so he should. The government is a shambles. I've got to say, the government at the moment, man. I don't like to get into politics and vote for this and that, but I think when this whole coronavirus thing's finished, they're not going to come out of this looking very good. At the start of it, I was kind of like, well, fair play to them. Looks like they're doing a good job. But as things are going on and on and on, you look at it and you think, it's a mess. It really is. I mean, I still don't know what, to be fair to Dominic Cummings, right? I don't even know what the rules are around the current, movement and stuff like that. And, well, he helped to write them, so he should know, but I don't know what they are. Do you know what they are? I really don't know. I'm really confused. B-Boy Mantine says, Robbie, do you think that Mo Salah is not given the credit he deserves by the Premier League? Because he has most of his goals and he has the most goals and assists since he's arrived. But he doesn't. I actually think he doesn't. Or Mane. I don't know what it is. They're unbelievable players. Unbelievable. And they didn't come. It's like what I was saying earlier about when you're talking about spending. I mean, when Liverpool bought them, their fans are probably looking and saying, oh, decent signing. What those two have done, Salah and Mane, has been unbelievable. They're both incredible players. And I don't think they quite get, obviously Liverpool fans love them. Every fan knows they're dangerous. But I don't know if they're placed on that sort of pedestal where they should be on. You'll hear strikers being talked about above them that are not as good as them. So, yeah, I rate both of them very highly. I really do. If you are on YouTube and you're having problems getting onto the chat, I don't know what's wrong with it. As far as I can see, we are broadcasting on YouTube tonight. But if not, if you're having problems getting through on the chat on YouTube, you can, of course, jump onto Facebook or Twitch and do it there. Also on Periscope as well. So, but somebody said earlier the chat seems not to be working on there. I'm not too sure the reason why that is. Mark says, Robbie, you have kids mode turned on YouTube, so no one can comment. Oh, well, we haven't troubled anything, so that's strange. That's really strange. Anyway, keep those comments coming through that you're sending right now. Ethan says, hi, Robbie. Do you think Bayern will win the league? Well, I think they've got a game on Tuesday against Borussia Dortmund. I think if they win that, that's it. It's done. So I'd like Dortmund to win it just to make it more interesting. But Bayern, if you start ask me who's the best out of the two teams, you've got to go Bayern. And I think, yeah, they probably will end up winning the Bundesliga. Captain Asiang says, did you hear that what Ashley Cole said? And who would win a boxing match between Jake Paul and KSI? I'll go for KSI. He's on a winning streak at the moment. I did hear what Ashley Cole said, again, talking about the winning mentality. And, you know, we can all hate on him and everything, but you can't argue with what he said. The winning mentality at Arsenal has not been there. It's the drive and determination and winning mentality has not been there. And there's been a lot of players who've left and have cited that as the reason why they've left. So there's got to be something in it. Gerard Hall, sorry, should I say, says, hello, Robbie. Do you think that there'll be more signings from the Brazilian market this summer? Thanks for the content from an Irish schooner here. Possibly, yeah. I mean, obviously, Mari, I reckon that could be turned into a permanent. I think if he does okay when the season comes back in the games that he gets to play, I think Arsenal will sign him. So that would be, even though he's Spanish, obviously, but he was been playing over in Brazil. But I think there could possibly be. There's more bargains to be had over in those leagues sometimes. So, and of course, with Martinelli and what he's done, I'm sure Arsenal will be looking over there to see what else can be done. Krypton says, what do you think we should do about the Aubameyang situation? Well, I've said it for quite a long time. I want us to keep him. Desperately want Arsenal to keep Aubameyang because I think if we sell him, it again sends the wrong signals out there. What it says is basically, you know, Arsenal is a selling club, you know, and we need to change that mentality. So we need to keep him. We desperately need to keep him. And, you know, we have to wait and see what happens with that one, but we definitely need to keep him. Mark Lee and Campbell says the Emirates is a library. So even if we go behind closed doors, it still wouldn't affect the fans. Listen, it's going to have a serious effect if it is behind closed doors. Abawaki says, Don Robbie, shout me out. There you go. There you go, bro. I hope I pronounced your name correctly. And Ben Cook says, Kroenke is the 4th richest Premier League owner. Arsenal have the highest season ticket prices. How Arsenal can have a top team is shocking. It's amazing how Liverpool, Man United, and the Liverpool have American owners. Clubs are all in different places. Yeah, it's about how you run the club. The club has been run very poorly over the last few years, in particular, and hence why we've seen this demise at Arsenal. And it's up to the owner to try and get it back on track. You're right, 4th richest owner in the Premier League. You wouldn't know that sometimes by the way he behaves. Rajiv says, do you think the Euros could be behind closed doors? Possibly it could. I think they'll be trying desperately to get fans back into the stadiums, but of course, it's all going to depend upon, you know, what happens with COVID-19. You know, if it starts to cases continue to drop and we get it under control, there's a possibility of getting fans back in. There's a possibility of testing. There's a possibility of, say, screening people and stuff like that and starting to get people back into grounds. But until we have that in place, you know, but you know what, things can move. I mean, how long now? We've been in this lockdown situation now for a couple of months. So who's to say where we're going to be a couple of months from now? If we can avoid that second spike, and keep those cases, driving those cases down. Who's to say that we can't get this thing under control before we even get a vaccine? Or who's to say we don't get a vaccine soon that can, you know, deal with like the most serious cases? So it's all up in the air at the moment. It's really hard for me to predict it. But I'm sure the organisers of the Euros, you know, I mean, a Euros behind closed doors will be disastrous, absolutely disastrous. This guy says Kokku or Owera to replace Ozil. Who do you rate? Love from Nepal. I haven't really seen much of Kokku. Owera I've seen a bit more of, and I really do think he's a top player. He would be a good replacement for Ozil. And of course, Leon, now who they're out of Europe, may be forced to sell him in the summer. Maybe a player that Arsenal could explore to try and get. Abu Hassam 9 says, I'm a fan of you from Saudi Arabia. Thank you very much. Can you have a word with the king over there and tell him to take over Arsenal instead of Newcastle? Paul May King says, hi Robbie, United fan here. I love your channel. What's your thoughts on Cesar Gelabart? Potentially could sign for Arsenal from Real Madrid. He looks a great talent. I'll be honest with you, I don't really know a lot about him. So, you know, I couldn't pass a judgment on him right now if I'm being 100% honest. Oh, sorry, I missed that one. Where did it go? Oh, where did it go? Where did it go? B-Boy Mantine says, who's the best MMA fighter, Conor McGregor or Habib? It's got to be Habib. Man. You saw he destroyed Conor McGregor in that last fight. It would be good to get some sort of rematch going again, but it's Habib. Easy. He dealt with Conor McGregor in that fight easily, didn't he? Deanie77 says, hey, Don Robbie, just wanted to highlight the end of Mental Awareness Week in the UK. You troops and DT and the rest of the team helped me through some really hard times. Thank you, and keep up the brilliant work that you do. Thank you very much for that. Yes, I have been aware of that. Was tweeting out some stuff for a friend of mine, Jamesy, who was been doing a lot of stuff around the Mental Awareness Week. We have been involved in stuff like that as well in the past, and it's a great cause. And especially at times like this where people are in lockdown and stuff like that, you know, it brings this added problems. I think it's going to be an issue in months to come when we start to emerge from lockdown, when people may lose jobs or, you know, lots of pressures are going to come down on people. And what I always say to people is that the best tonic is to talk. You know, try and talk and don't just bottle it up. But yes, fantastic cause, mate. Ferras says, hello, Robbie. If you have to choose between a world-class attacking midfielder or a world-class defender to join Arsenal, what will you choose? For me, it's an attacking midfielder. For me, it's a world-class defender. We've got to shore up the defence. We, over the years, have not had a good defence, and that has been the big problem at Arsenal, and that would be the thing that I would shore up first. We could do with a world-class attacking midfielder, but a world-class defender to stop us conceding as many goals, would be my priority first and foremost. And that's why I can never understand why we've never really, really gone out there hard to try and solve that problem. Gerard Hall says, I was reading about Arsenal that they plan to get rid of some surplus players. Aubameyang looks to have a choice to move, but nothing has come in. Papers talk. Guendouzi looks like a loan deal and a CM to come in. True or false, I don't know. It's a lot of rumours at the moment. There's been rumours that Guendouzi could be sold. There's been rumours about Maitland-Niles could be going. We all know the Aubameyang rumours. At the end of the day, the season's not even finished yet. So we're not even into the summer transfer window. That means that absolutely everything literally is rumours at the moment, because we've not moved into that area where we're going to be doing those sort of deals, I've just done that one a minute ago. Let's get this one here. Larson Dre. He says, Robbie, did you watch the Bounty Killer versus Beanie Man clash yesterday? Who do you think won if you watched? I haven't watched all of it. I've watched some of it. And with what I watched, man, Bounty Killer, I love Bounty Killer, man. I love Bounty Killer. You know, he was wicked on it. I was watching a bit on it where Beanie Man was, I love that bit, with like a policeman coming to kind of break up the street. Must be because of the social distancing. And like Beanie Man saying, what, you coming in? This is live. There's like 500,000 people watching this live. Do you want to be that guy that's going to come in and disturb it? And it looks like the police guy must have said to himself, actually, no, I don't want to be that guy who, gets called out live on air. But yeah, it was great to see that happening. And two real top artists, man. Been lucky enough to meet both of those guys, man. And they're two legends of reggae music. Nikesh says, when is the show, Claude and Ty? Well, we've been trying to get it on, man, but Ty, this guy, man, I'm telling you, when it comes to technology, he's, forget about it. He's just in the dark ages, man. It's just so difficult with that guy. Elvin says, we will be able to sell players when the market has taken such a decline that selling good players would be hard enough, let alone mediocre ones. So it is going to be hard to get rid of a lot of players this summer, not just for Arsenal, but for a lot of teams. So a lot of teams are going to have to wait until their contracts run out. Arsenal have a lot of players' contracts running out in 2022, or should I say at the end of the 2021 season. A lot of contracts are going to be running out, and maybe that's when you'll see a lot of players move on. And this guy says, I think it's difficult for Arsenal to catch the top four after the return of Rashford and Kane, and important players were injured from rivals, and they're also coming back. What do you think? Well, as I said, we've got good players as well. It's how hard. Yeah, as I said this morning, it's the team that comes back the fittest and hits the ground running that's going to get into that top four. That's the team that's going to make it there. Thomas the Cook, like that name, he says, hi, Robbie. Can Arsenal ever win the league with Kroenke as the owner? I don't think so. I don't know if this guy is driven enough to win it. Will he give us what we need to win that league? I'm not convinced. So at the moment, I'd have to say no. But hopefully he can prove me wrong. Hi, Robbie. Bias aside, Hazard or Perez? Perez. Come on. Perez. B-Boy Mantine says, Robbie, who's your best reggae artist? Mine is UB40. UB40. To me, right, UB40, respect to them. But to me, I think UB40, I don't class them as like real reggae. I don't. I think they play reggae music. They've done brilliantly. But there's much better reggae artists, in my opinion, than UB40. For starters, literally every tune that UB40 does is a cover. So they don't really do a lot of original stuff. Best reggae artist. It's a reggae artist called Beres Hammond. I really love. He's been a brilliant singer, been consistent over the years. Doesn't get the respect probably he deserves, but Beres Hammond, I'm a big fan. Kim Madak says, hey, Robbie, I told Troops to start a radio show where us fans can call in to speak about topics for about 10 minutes each. He can bring in guests like Expressions and DT. Would love to see that on AFTV or his channel one day. You never know. We've been looking into something similar. Lots of new things coming for next season. So you never know. Oh, sorry, I was trying to get that one. Robbie QOTSFC says, miss the away day vlogs abroad. Who knows when we will be watching the Arsenal again abroad. Don Robbie, hopefully soon. I mean, Jesus, yeah, you know, I was watching a video that we put out the other day of the road trips, and I was like, geez, I miss all these trips. So I was watching that, and we was like in all these different countries and going up and down this country, and I miss it. I really do miss it. I miss the fact that, you know, you meet so many different people along the way. And well, this time last year, I'm almost sure we were preparing to go to Baku, you know. So yeah, I really do miss that. I really do miss that. It's one of the things I miss the most about football. And hopefully we can get it back. Kingsley says, who's the better player for Arsenal, Fabregas or Van Persie? I'll have to go. I think I have to go Fabregas, you know, because he did it over a longer period of time. Van Persie had that one breakout season where he tore it up. But I think Fabregas was more consistent over a few seasons. So I think I'd have to go for Fabregas. Daniel says, do you think Kroenke watches AFTV, Robbie? I'm not even sure if he watches Arsenal, let alone AFTV. And Kim Maddox says, loan out Willock, Ainsley Maitland-Niles and Reece to a club like Celtic, sell Rob Holding and Socrates, replace them with Ben White, Torreira, buy Partey, swap Ozil and cash plus cash for Havertz, loaning Coutinho and Ousmane Dembele if Aubameyang doesn't want to sign. It's as easy as that. Tate says, hi, Robbie. I was on AFTV twice. And what defender should Arsenal sign for life? We need a real top quality. Listen, if this is when you asked that question earlier about can we win the league under Stan Kroenke. Now, if I was the owner of Arsenal Football Club and I would have looked on it, not even this year, last year, I would have said, you know what? We need top quality centre back, like someone who's just you know, like a Van Dijk. So I would have said, who is that player? Let me look out there. Who is that? Who fits that bill? Koulibaly at Napoli, world class. We're getting him. 80, 90 million, we're paying it, right? Even if we move out a couple of the dead wood, we'll get. But we are getting Koulibaly because that is going to set the foundations. Koulibaly with Saliba, that's the foundation. I want to fix that spine. And it's starting off with Koulibaly. That's, to me, when you have an owner that's like, tunnel vision, I want to win. I don't see that from our guy. I don't see that. I don't see him ever doing that. Probably don't even know who Koulibaly is. So I asked this question last night, favorite Premier League stadium other than the Emirates, and it was me and Pippa on last night, and I just couldn't think of one. I was just like, you know, I was saying that, like, you know, I like going to places like Anfield, and it's a great atmosphere, but we always get battered there. I enjoyed, obviously, the North London derby. I love the intensity of it. It's crazy. I love it, but I wouldn't class my favourite ground as Tottenham. And the grounds I really love going to sometimes are some of those grounds that are outside the Premier League, grounds that I've not been to. But there's some amazing grounds. I mean, like, I love St James's Park, but I hate where they put the fans way too high, away from all the action. But Newcastle's a great away day because there's so much to do up there. It's a long distance, and, you know, but where they put the fans spoils the day. So I don't know which ground. Even since last night, Everton's unique, but not the most comfortable ground in the world. Bournemouth, you know what, I might go Bournemouth because I always like going to Bournemouth. It's a tight little ground. It's only holds about 12,000 or something like that, and you are so close to the players. So that's a decent ground to visit. It's unique because it's so different to all the other grounds. But And it would be a brilliant away day if we visited there, like, you know, in towards the end of the season. But you always seem to go there like in January, so it's freezing cold. But I don't think I have a particular standout favourite. I really don't. Ijin says, would you rather keep Kroenke or have an owner with less money but actually cares about the club? An owner with less money who cares about the club. You don't have to be a multi-billionaire. You can have 500 billion, but if you don't spend any of it on the club, what difference does it make? So I want somebody who cares about the club. That's ultimately way more important than money. You get an owner that really, really cares about the club. That for me is the most important thing. Not how much money they're bringing to the table, because they can even bring a load of money, spend it really well, and spend it really badly. So no, always somebody who actually cares. That's the most important thing. BB Mantine again says, Robbie, my best AFTV regular is Troops. I wish you did the Bias show more and invite him more onto an evening show. We'll try and get him onto an evening show this week. Not the easiest guy to get hold of in the evenings. And if you know Troops, you know why. Minced 90 says, hi, Robbie. What do you think of clubs that proudly wear their political ideologies? From right wing to Lazio, to left wing like St. Pauli, should it be celebrated as part of their history and heritage, or is it a slippery slope towards violence? I think it's a slippery slope towards violence. I mean, you know, I don't like all this, this team's right wing and that team's left wing. You know what I mean? It's football. I mean, well, what's politics? I know the history of some of these clubs, maybe that, you know, it was formed out of this and formed out of that, but it is a slippery slope to violence when we start, you know, clubs considering themselves as real right wing and this one as left wing and this one as that and that. You know, I don't like it. And you know, like in a club like Lazio, it's not great, is it? You know, that Mussolini link and stuff like that, because it does encourage racism. So no. Top Strikers says, Robbie, realistically, who can we get as an attacking mid? No way are we getting Havertz. He'll end up at Bayern and Coutinho at Chelsea. From what I've heard and from reliable sources, and Grealish at Man United. And definitely if Pogba goes, I'm worried that we'll be falling away from invincibles to invisible. There's that Aurier at Lyon, who's a top midfielder that we could go to try and bring in. I think he'd make a great signing. I think Coutinho could be done if Arsenal are ambitious enough. I don't think they'd buy him, but I could see that get done on a loan. So I think we're going to have to wait and see how it pans out. Vivek says, if Aubameyang asks for 300,000 a week, do you really think this is feasible to renew for that kind of money? Well, you know what? Mesut Ozil is on £350,000 a week. Yeah. If I was Aubameyang, I'd be looking at it and I'd be like, well, yo, you know what? What are you saying, bro? If it worked for me, scoring all the goals that I've done over the past few seasons, I need to get rewarded. I was watching again the Michael Jordan documentary, which is so fascinating. And as I said, I used to love watching Michael Jordan. I'm a bit older than probably a lot of you guys. But I used to love watching Michael Jordan when I was growing up, right? And I remember the Bulls, and I remember him, Scottie Pippen, Rodman, and it was really fascinating because I remember when Scottie Pippen was really acting up, and now you see from the documentary that basically he was being underpaid for years and years and years and years, and he didn't want to leave the Bulls. He just wanted to be rewarded for the fact that he was one of the best players in the league, and they refused to do so. So, you know, I think, you know, somebody like Aubameyang is going to have to be rewarded. Now, how they work it out, I don't know, because obviously they don't have the money that, you know, this, you know, obviously with this whole coronavirus thing. But I think if it means shedding some other players off of that wage bill to accommodate it, they have to try and do that. They'll, at the end of next season, the Ozil money will be off the wage bill. That will be gone. At the very least, if we even kept him on, we wouldn't keep him on at that sort of money. So, yeah, you know, reward the guy. He deserves it. Rio Javon says, hi, Robbie. Do you rate Leon Bailey? He doesn't seem to get a start with Diaby ahead of him. What do you think? I do rate him. He had a great season last year. You're right. He's been finding it hard to get into the team. Yeah, he's a good player. Was being touted for massive money last season. That's how football can go. And then now this season, nobody's really talking about him and going in for him and that, but I think he's still a really talented player. Guna Gamer TV says, hey, Robbie, have you managed to see my video I emailed to you? No, you know what? Your video we couldn't open. So you need to send that again. You need to send that again. We could not open your file. I remember that now. Me and you go way back. He says, I grew up with you around Luton. I came to see you at Free Counties Radio twice. I worked at Free Counties Radio years ago. One time with Lennox Lewis. Yeah, well, I remember that show. We had Lennox Lewis on there. And Robbie, have you managed to see my video? Oh, he says the same thing. Same thing twice. He must have cut and pasted or something. But yeah, like, send your video again. And as I said, on Tuesday, we're going to have some fans on, you know, from, you know, that contribute to these shows on a regular basis. We ask you guys to send stuff in to get on the show, and we've had an unbelievable response. It's been incredible. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get someone on this show. I'm going to try and do several shows where I bring people on, and even then, I don't think I'm going to be able to get everybody on because there's hundreds. I couldn't believe it. But fantastic response from you guys, and I really do want to get some of you on. So Tuesday, look out on Tuesday. We're going to have like some of you guys on the show firing the questions and answering the questions as well. I'll be firing someone back at you guys. Welsh Lad 2K20 says, big up Don Robbie. Hello from Wales. Our owner is a clown. What do you think the Arsenal-Barca match in the Champions League final, where Eto'o tripped over his shadow and got Lehmann sent off? I reckon we would have won the match. Also, anything new from Mystic Claude? Nothing new from Mystic Claude, apart from he sent me a video earlier of which I couldn't believe. He sent me a video because, you know, he's been moaning about people not socially distancing. I think it was a video at Finsbury Park, and it was like about 20 guys having a game of football. I mean, I know the Premier League players have come back, but they're getting tested. They're socially distanced at the moment in training. These guys are playing a full game. I couldn't believe it. He's been moaning about it for a while. He sent me the video of it. I was like, it's incredible. You know, like they think the whole coronavirus thing's over. Madness. And you know what? You're right. We should have won. We could have won that final. I remember we were winning 1-0 with Sol Campbell. I was at the game. I was heartbroken. I thought, you know, the key moment was that sending off, because going out of 10 men against Barcelona, you're up against it. And then the backup goalkeeper, Almunia, I never rated him, man. I never was confident when he was in goal. And I to this day, I think he should have saved both goals. Maybe I'm being a bit harsh, but that's my opinion. Thierry49 says, hi, Robbie, big fan. Do you think that if Arsenal won in Baku, Unai Emery would be currently thrive as a manager? Possibly. These things are turning points, aren't they? You know, bring the first European trophy to Arsenal for a long, long time, get Arsenal into the Champions League, possibly we've been able to have got some better players. You know, his whole, you know, self-esteem would be high. You know, the winning mentality of the team would have risen. Yeah, you never, you know, that could, you know, because these things are turning points. Just the same as a turning point when you lose, because that for me, first of all, we had the terrible end of the season. Then, on top of that now, we lost in Baku. So that those two things just led on to it just being a total disaster. So it could have been a turning point, and Unai Emery could still be here if he'd have won that. I reckon he probably would have been, but he didn't. Quasi Times, he says, Robbie, bias aside, who would you take now, Sancho or Pepe? You'd have to say Sancho. He's absolutely on fire, hasn't he? Look at his record over there in the Bundesliga. It's been incredible. Having said that, Pepe's record was incredible as well before we bought him. But Sancho's been very, very, very impressive. He really has. If you have to choose between Martinelli or Saka, who would it be? I think I was asked this one last night. You'd have to go Martinelli. So all them goals he scored and that, he's been unbelievable. They've both been unbelievable, but I'd have to go Martinelli. The one Gucci says, can you shout out my bro Alex? It's his birthday. Happy birthday to you, Alex. And Robbie, what's from Chicago? I think he means what's from Chicago. Love what you do. I love that you watch the Bulls. Which pairing is better, Xhaka and Partey or Rabiot and Torreira? Ooh. The Partey one. The Partey one. Nika says the cooking video ain't on Robbie. Oh yeah, I still got to do that cooking video, man. Sorry, it was a busy week last week. This week. Right. This guy says we all moan about how Kroenke doesn't put money in the club, and we say that he's not going to spend this year. But to be fair, no one thought we were going to spend 100 million last year. I don't think we're going to be spending big money like that this season for sure. The coronavirus has definitely had an effect. And I think he spent a lot of that money last year with the hope of getting into the Champions League. And we didn't make it. And that's going to have a serious, serious effect on Arsenal spending. Evertonian TV says, hello, Robbie. I have an Everton fan channel called Evertonian TV. Got any tips for a channel like mine? Currently on 350 subscribers. So big up Evertonian TV, sorry. Tips, bro, just be consistent, man, and try and make as much good content as possible for the Everton fans. And I'm sure you'll be all right. Everton are a big, you know what, you're doing a channel on a club that's got some exciting times ahead. Ancelotti, manager, high profile. You've got very good players at the club. You're going to be up there challenging for those European places season out. So again, Everton will be mentioned a lot, and you're building that new stadium. So I think, doing a channel with Everton, you're going to have a great story to tell, but just be consistent with it. Never give up, don't always look on the views. When Arsenal Fan TV started off, our views weren't great either. We had to work and build it up. And when you build it up, you're sustaining your following. You're having a following that's going to keep following you along the way. So good luck to you with that. 350 subscribers now. Probably by the end of this season, you're up in the thousands, mate. So just keep the good work up. Nikesh says, when is Sophie going to be on? Sophie's on tomorrow. Right? I spoke to her yesterday. She's coming on Monday night. So look out for Sophie Rose repping Chelsea. She'll be up tomorrow. Ricardo says, Robbie, do you think that it's fair for West Bromwich Albion, Leeds and Fulham to be promoted if the season does not finish and the bottom three in the Premier League to be relegated? No, I don't. You can't relegate clubs if they haven't had a chance to get out of it. So no, it would not be right for me. And you can't just promote clubs either. That's why it's so important to get the season finished. So no, I wouldn't be up for that at all. Robbie, how much do you think Kai Havertz will cost? Will Arsenal be able to be offered him? I believe he's the next big thing. Well, before the season resumed back, you'd have probably said he's up on like 50 millions. Since the Bundesliga has come back, and I think he scored 4 goals in 2 games, his price has probably gone up now. He's probably like, even with what's going on, he's probably like talking about 70 million now. Bit like that Timo Werner, he scored a hat-trick today. His price has gone up. You're in the shop window. You're in the shop window. Rio Vaughan says, Robbie, remember when Oxlade-Chamberlain was here and wanted to play midfield and left? I feel like the same could happen to Ainsley. He might excel. He might do. He might do. You know, he's never really had a chance in that midfield. He's always said he wants to play there. He might do. But for now, he's got to try and nail down that right back position. George Chapman says, Robbie, this is the time to show. This is the time for Kroenke to show he cares about the club and put his hand in his pockets and put us back where we belong. Here, here. I agree with that. Who will win, Bayern or Dortmund? Score. You've got to go Bayern, 2-1. Bertrand says, Robbie, would you get a Spurs tattoo if it meant Arsenal won the Champions League in return? Spurs. Yeah, I get it. As soon as we win the Champions League, I'll cover it straight over with a big cannon. Do you see that Messi is to finish his career at Barcelona? And how do you see Barcelona? How do you see him getting Barcelona to the next level? Do you see him as the greatest of all time? Yeah, he can't argue with him at the moment being the greatest of all time, can you, with what he's done? You can't argue with that. And he just keeps going. He's not getting any worse at the moment. He's just motoring along. He's at the moment, he could keep playing till he's 40. You really could. Nino says, Robbie, any news from Claude on Aubameyang? No. Haven't heard Eddie on Aubameyang. Cohen says, Robbie, please read this. I know the 3. Aubameyang, Hector, and Ozil. He's saying the 3 that refused the pay cut. Other rumours of other players, you know, I mean, nobody knows exactly who it is. Dr. Viraj says, hi, Robbie. If not for the injuries, who amongst the following would have had the greatest career at Arsenal? Thomas Rosicky, Jack Wilshere, or Eduardo? I think Eduardo was going on to be, that season when he broke his leg, he was playing brilliantly, and I'm convinced we were going to win the league that season. So I'd have probably said Eduardo. We would have won the league that season if that hadn't have happened. I'm convinced. Did you see the interview with Lineker and Cole today? I didn't actually see that. No, was it Ashley Cole? But I didn't actually see that. Who would you rather have if we had the money, Partey or Upamecano? Partey. Even though you heard me earlier saying we need a defender. Upamecano's still a young guy. He's still not that finished article to me. If you said to me Partey or Koulibaly, it'd be Koulibaly all day long. Realistically, we spent a lot of time. We've spent a lot since 2013 when we signed Ozil. Yes, we do not have owners that throws money at the club, but a lot of our shortcomings come from our terrible scouting and player management since then. It seems unintelligent when people blame Kroenke for our shortcomings. Just look at clubs like Ajax and Leicester that found success without spending hundreds of millions. I'm sorry, we haven't spent enough. There's been times, right, since 2013 when we knew what we needed. Now, I don't know whether this was the fault of Kroenke or whether it's the fault of Wenger, but there's been seasons when we go and get a holding midfielder. and we don't get it. We've done all right. We got into the Champions League and we're right. Next season, let's build now. Let's get in a couple of, add to that team, get in a couple of world-class players. And we'll buy like Petr Cech as our only signing. Sorry, the signings have not been good enough. And a lot of our signings that have been good have just been reactionary signings. They haven't been signings that have been done with any planning. So you are right on that. Like, we'll sell one player, everybody's up in arms, so we panic and go and get another player to hopefully appease the fans, or go and pay somebody ridiculous wages to hopefully appease the fans. There's been no planning, but also I still don't think we've been spending, the right amount of money on certain. There's been certain players available that we could have got that we haven't got. As I said, I look on it, that defensive position, we could have had Van Dijk. We were looking at, I'm said to be interested in Van Dijk even when he was at Celtic. So, nah. All round, it's been a mess. And let's hope it can improve. Gonna do one more. Let me see. What am I going to choose? Let me do this one as the last one. One Gucci says, do you think that Henry should be in the Hall of Fame? And what do you think of Aubameyang and Lewis series? Not sure what that series is, but definitely Thierry Henry, Bergkamp, Tony Adams, all should be in the Hall of Fame. Absolute legends of the club. Thanks for watching the show tonight. Apologies if you were on YouTube and you were trying to leave a comment and you was unable to. Apologies for that. It's been absolutely crazy anyway with comments from Facebook, Twitch, Periscope. So thank you very much for that. And have yourself a great evening. Enjoy the bank holiday, and we'll be back in the morning.